Jay-Z just sold out 3 nights at Yankee Stadium. Thee Stallion collapsed on a Broadway stage and was back performing 48 hours later. T.I. dropped 4 diss tracks and 50 Cent responded with AI and a documentary threat. This week, hip-hop didn't just make the news, it proved it doesn't stop for anything. I'm Doubl R, this is 606 and Go. Let's get into the top 6. At number 6 is a big one for Atlanta. T.I. has confirmed Kill the King will be his final album. 25 years, 12 studio albums, King of the South. The lead single, Let 'Em Know, which is produced by Pharrell, immediately tells you T.I. is not going out quietly. He has Lil Wayne on the album, a single that's peaked at number 36 on the Billboard Hot 100, his highest charting record in over a decade. That's not nostalgia, that's relevance. He told OK Player this week something that stuck with me. He said, through the line between King in 2006 and Kill the King in 2026 is the same. I'm the shit, can't nobody F with me, and that's because me and God say so. That's 20 years of the same conviction. Different man, same foundation. Here's the artist analyst take on this. The title, Kill the King, is the most honest thing T.I. has said in years. Kill the King means killing the ego on his way out. That's not just an album, that's a man reckoning with the version of himself that made him famous. The most compelling retirement album in hip-hop aren't the ones that prove artists is still relevant. They're the ones that tell the truth about what this whole thing costs. If T.I. tells the truth on Kill the King, this can be one of the most important Atlanta rap albums in a decade. At number 5, your summer 2026 calendar is about to get very expensive. Baby Keem's Casino Tour runs April through September, going through US, Canada, Europe, UK. Roots Picnic in Philadelphia, May 30th. Jay-Z headlining with the Roots. Jay-Z at Yankee Stadium, July 11th, 10th, and 12th. More on that when we get to number 1. J. Cole's Fall Off Tour is out there, and Lollapalooza 2026 lineup is just dropping. Here's what this week's tour announcement actually means for the culture. We are in the most active live hip-hop season since before the pandemic, and it's not coincidental. The streaming era flattened everything. Every artist available all the time, everywhere, for the same monthly fee, or even free on social media. What you can't stream is the room, the energy, the moment. Baby Keem debuted in a video at the Webster Hall before it hit in stream. Jay-Z at Yankee Stadium for 3 nights. These are deliberate statements that the live experience is the experience that streaming cannot replicate. This summer is hip-hop reminding itself why it started. At number 4, the T.I. and 50 Cent situation. And I want to separate this from the Kill the King rollout because it deserves its own conversation. What started as a verses that never happened turned into T.I. dropping 4 diss tracks, which are War, The Right One, Lessons, and What Bully. His sons have jumped in, Tiny has been dragged into it, 50 Cent even threatened a surviving T.I. and Tiny documentary. T.I. has responded with some music, but mostly Instagram posts, with memes, with leveraging his platform and his production empire. This is a 2026 hip-hop beef in perfect form. One side is using bars, one side is using the platform. Here's the real question this raises. In 2026, who wins the beef? The rapper or the businessman? 50 Cent built a media empire. His response to T.I. wasn't a verse, it was a threat to put him on a streaming platform. T.I. is responding the old way, in the booth. I'll give you the artist analyst read. T.I. wins the culture battle. 50 Cent wins the business battle. And those two are completely different scoreboards in 2026. What this beef is really showing us is the generational divide and how hip-hop handles conflict. The older model, bars settle it. The newer model, platform settles it. Neither is wrong, they're just speaking different languages. And number 3, and this one just got even bigger than we plan to talk about, Meg Thee Stallion made her Broadway debut March 24th in Moulin Rouge, the musical, playing Zidler, the first female identifying performer to ever play that role in any production worldwide. Opening night, Queen Latifah and Tiffany Haddish were in the building. She slipped Savage and Body into the show. The weekly gross jumped nearly to 450,000 to $500,000 in 1 week. Then, Tuesday night, she collapsed mid-performance, was rushed to the hospital. Doctors diagnosed extreme exhaustion, dehydration, and low metabolic levels. She missed April 1st entirely, but was back on stage Thursday, 48 hours after being hospitalized. Back on Broadway, 8 shows a week. I said in planning for this episode that Broadway will be the moment that separates her career from her celebrity. I didn't know the first real test would come that fast or this hard. Here's the artist analyst take. Everyone who called this a celebrity stunt went silent this week because a stunt doesn't put you in the hospital. A stunt doesn't have you back on the stage 2 days later telling your fans you pushed past the limits because you didn't want to let them down. That's not a marketing move. That's an artist. Meg Thee Stallion is on Broadway through May 17th, and every night she steps on that stage now, the story is bigger than what it was before. And number 2, Latto announced she's pregnant and dropping the lead single from her new album, Big Mama. All in the same moment. The announcement itself was a masterclass in rollout. A cryptic trailer, a baby cheetah being fed from a bottle, her heels walking into frame, the word midnight on screen. The internet went a little crazy in its mind trying to decode it. Then Business and Personal drops. She shows her baby bump, 21 Savage hand on her stomach, not showing his face, just enough to confirm. Big Mama drops May 29th with 17 tracks. Now here's where it gets interesting from a craft standpoint, and this is the 606 and Go difference. On Business and Personal, Latto rapped this. They call me Big Mama like a fat. Oh, they think Crody wrote it, that's a compliment. Crody is Toronto slang, the same word Kendrick used in his diss at Drake. The connection is obvious. She's addressing rumors that Drake ghostwrites for her. But here's what she did that's actually brilliant. She reframed the accusation as validation. Instead of denying it, she said, if you think the best rapper in the game right now had a hand in my bars, that means my bars are at that level. That's not a defense, that's a checkmate. And that's writing. Those bars are doing 3 things simultaneously: deflecting, name dropping, and reframing. That's a craft. That's the kind of line that gets analyzed in English classes 20 years from now. Latto is entering the most important era of her career, motherhood and artistry at the same time. If Big Mama delivers on the promise of that single, this is the album that defines her legacy. At number 1, and it's gotten even bigger since we first planned this episode, Jay-Z, spelled with the omelet, the way it appeared on Reasonable Doubt, is returning to the stage. Roots Picnic is in Philly, May 30th, headlining alongside the Roots for the first time in over a decade. And then, on July 10th, 11th, and 12th, 3 nights at Yankee Stadium, Jay-Z 30, Jay-Z 25, and the third show they're calling Extra Innings, added after the first 2 shows sold out almost immediately. Let me give you a moment to actually sit with that. 3 nights, Yankee Stadium, sold out. No album since 2017, no tour since 2017, and the demand was so overwhelming that they had to add a show. That's not nostalgia, that's power. Reasonable Doubt came out in 1996, same year I was born, crazy enough. Jay-Z was 26 years old, selling it out of his trunk. That album is the reason you can hear Pusha T, the reason you can hear Rick Ross, the reason the solo album No Features became an entire artistic philosophy. Then 5 years later, The Blueprint, September 11th, the week of 9/11, an album that somehow became the soundtrack to New York City process and devastation. Kanye West produced Izzo, Heart of the City. Just Blaze produced You Don't Know, Takeover. That album launched the careers of 2 of the most important producers in the history of hip-hop. And now in 2026, the man who made both those records is putting on a top hat, pointing at the Yankee Stadium and saying, "This is where it all lives." He sat down with GQ this week, his first cover story in nearly a decade. He talked about the Kendrick and Drake feud, about J. Cole, about today's rap landscape, about a possible new album. He said almost nothing definitive about anything, which is exactly what Jay-Z does when he's about to do something significant. The ability to be absent and still be present. The ability to let work speak across decades without diminishing. Whether there's new music or not, these 3 nights at Yankee Stadium are a referendum of hip-hop's relationship with legacy. Can we honor what built us without being trapped by it? Can a 56-year-old man from Marcy Projects stand in front of 50,000 people in the Bronx and make music from 1996 feel like the most important thing happening in 2026? I think the answer is yes. I think Bronx already knows it. 3 sold out nights said it louder than I ever could. And that's the top 6 at 606 for the week of April 4th, 2026. T.I.'s final chapter, the most stacked summer in hip-hop history, 50 Cent and T.I. fighting on 2 different scoreboards, Meg Thee Stallion back on stage 48 hours after the hospital, Latto writing the smartest bar of the month, and Jay-Z selling out 3 nights at Yankee Stadium before most people finish their morning coffee. Every day, Friday at 606, 6 stories, no fillers, just a culture. I'm Doubl R. This is 606 and Go. Subscribe if this is your lane, and I'll see you next Friday.